Hello everyone and welcome! With all the newly fleshed out stories being released, it's time to get through all of them, starting with Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia was once a beautiful noble woman capable of manipulating even the most resilient hearts. Assassins killed in her slightest whim, soldiers spilled their darkest stories, and generals willingly followed her in the hopes of patronage. She was the youngest daughter of one of the Noxus' most influential families. Although the members of the family won't confirm this, it is highly possible that she is Katarina's younger sister and a member of the House Dukuto. Her entire life changed once she decided to venture into an ancient tomb inside the ruins of Shurima. Let's quickly recap what exactly happened there.
In a market on the edge of the desert, a stranger appears. Cassiopeia, a noble woman of Noxus, looking to hire a guide to take her to the fabled lost city. But not just any guide. She hires the owner of a legendary ancient blade, the mercenary, called Sivir. Sivir gathers her band of sellswords, and they set out into the desert to find the buried bones of Shurima. 5 days beneath the broiling sun, a scout spots towers jutting from the dunes, and a stairway leading underground. They climb down into the darkness. Ancient treasures gleam in the torchlight. Even Sivir is astonished at the grandeur of the ruins. Her men head deeper in, only to stumble into traps and be eviscerated. Sivir is stunned with horror, but Cassiopeia does not flinch. She sees only the statue of a huge serpent silently guarding the door to the tomb of the emperors, and smiles. The ancient weapon is a key. Cassiopeia betrays Sivir. She picks up Sivir's blade, puts it into the lock. The Guardian's curse is triggered. The stone serpent comes alive. It pins Cassiopeia in its jaws. The venom sears her flesh like acid. The tomb door opens. Renekton emerges, the brother I loved and locked away, twisted beyond insanity, followed by Zareth, the architect of his torment. My failure is complete.
Cassiopeia survived the accident, but she was never the same. After she returned to Noxus, her entire lifestyle changed. She was no longer the beautiful woman that manipulated others. If anything, she was a monster. She decided to hide in her family's crypts, afraid of revealing what had happened. She remained alone in the cold, dark vaults for weeks, filled with disgust for her serpentine body and mourning the loss of her aristocratic life. Eventually, a growing desire to hunt overwhelmed her, and she ventured out to roam the city by night as her family slumbered. Even though it was the middle of the night, the city was full of life. Cassiopeia climbed on a roof overlooking the crowded streets of Noxus. Below her, she saw hooded figures whispering secrets in the shadows, poor children running around the streets, and soldiers walking in and out of taverns. All of them were oblivious to the predator lurking in the darkness above. Then, a soldier in a leather breastplate stumbled from a tavern with a drink in his hand. Finally, this was the man she'd been waiting for. She trailed his movements from above, following him silently over fortress walls and archways until he entered an empty courtyard. Perfect. She then slithered onto an adjacent roof, her eyes full of thrill of hunt. Her figure cast a shadow across the soldier. He turned, drunkenly defiant. "I know you're there. Show yourself," he said. Cassiopeia's tail twitched in anticipation. Her forked tongue extended, tasting the air. She drew the sweet scent of his blood into her lungs, then exhaled with great satisfaction. "Fight me face to face," he shouted. "I ain't gonna be stalked like some animal." Cassiopeia let out an angry hiss. By the time the soldier looked up, she had slid to the opposite side of the courtyard onto a roof directly above him. "You consider yourself better than an animal, do you?" she said. The man's head turned, trying to find out the source of the voice. "How'd you get across so fast?" he said. "Even beasts are nothing to your savagery," said Cassiopeia. Breathless, he edged away, looking for an escape. He hammered his fist against every door, but each was bolted shut. Cassiopeia imagined his mind racing to solve the riddle of who was hunting him and why. He unsheathed his sword, turning on the point, unsure where his enemy was. "You don't want to cross me. I've got worse enemies than you." "Not just enemies," Cassiopeia replied. "I've seen your handiwork. You're not the only one who creeps about in the dark." She spat a dose of venom just as he turned toward her voice. The man howled in pain, coin-sized holes burning through his armor and into his skin. She inhaled the satisfying sear of burning leather and flesh. The man waved his sword around. "Who are you? Why are you doing this?" "I've been watching you," replied Cassiopeia. "I know what you are, what you do. What I do is no business of yours. I know you're murdering children for drake meat. I hear it's quite lucrative." The man tried to pry open the shutters of a nearby window, but they were bolted shut too. "Then there is the 3 tavern wenches," said Cassiopeia. "Sarmela, Elmin and Lynx. They were found in the river yesterday. Their faces were hardly recognizable once you'd finished with them." The man readied his stance. "You can't fight me from the shadows. Show yourself." "Very well," Cassiopeia said. She slithered down the courtyard and rose to her full height. The man's eyes widened in horror, his hands trembling. Cassiopeia stood head and shoulders over the man, glaring down with narrowing eyes. "Monster!" he cried. "Monster," breathed out Cassiopeia. "Not the worst I've been called." She slid left and whipped her tail across his legs, effortlessly knocking him to the ground. She curled her tail around his chest, squeezing his ribcage tighter and tighter, sensing his pounding heart straining beneath her grasp. She heard bones crack. She resisted the urge to break him completely and released her grip. He crawled to his sword, grasping in desperation. She so enjoyed watching him tremble. He met her gaze and stared in slow recognition. "I know your face. The Lady Cassiopeia," he said. "Look at you." He pushed himself back onto his feet with his sword. "You chase drunkards like me through the filthy gutters of this city now. Is that it?" The man spat a wad of blood. "From such great heights we fall, eh?" she hissed, exposing dripping yellow fangs. Cassiopeia's gaze bored into the man's eyes, locking them in a cold-hearted bond. She screamed, pouring all her rage into the cry. It was a combination of the fury at the unfairness of her current state, the anger at the loss of her privileged life, and the resentment for her failed ambitions. She channeled it all into the screeching, mind-shredding wail. As she screamed, her fury was replaced with joy. Searing emerald light blazed from Cassiopeia's eyes. The man's final panic was outlined in silhouette as he petrified from the inside out. With Cassiopeia's curse, his flesh transformed to stone. Cassiopeia slithered up to the statue and softly caressed its hard cheek. "Once I had to manipulate, bribe, or otherwise, persuade people to orchestrate my schemes," she said. "But now I simply take what I want." She whipped her tail forward, smashing the statue to the ground. She smiled, eyes glinting, as it shattered into 1,000 pieces of dust and rubble. Her life as a noble was over, but never had she felt such boundless power coursing through her veins. She slithered back onto the rooftops, her mind full of ideas. Her next victim would offer far greater challenge. And that is where Cassiopeia's lore ends. As you can see, she is already planning her next victim, so there is no way we are done with her story. As of her connections to the Black Rose, I don't think there are any. Maybe in the future she can become a member, but we have no information about that now. But for now, thank you everyone so much for watching. I really appreciate every single one of you being here. If you enjoyed it, you can always click the awesome like button below, subscribe for at least one lore video a week, and follow me on my social media if you want to talk about lore. And with that, as absolutely always, thank you come again. For those of you wondering what the blue book at the start of the title of this video is, I am trying to mark every single video that I ever made that is still canon and in the future will be canon with this blue book. So some of you may see it as a different icon, it all depends on your device. I know that Chrome and Explorer and all these explorers have different icons, as well as on phones, on Android and iPhone it's also different. As long as it works, I'll be using it. If someone sees it as random numbers and letters instead of the icon, just tell me and I don't know if I'll take it down, but I'll fix it. And there's just a lot of lore that I'm working on currently because of the universe. So I'll get on to the next one. So see you in the next one.